Hi, good evening. My name is Max Kobernick, and I'm your lead anchor of the Environmental Channel, your source for environmental news 24 hours a day. Tonight on the Environmental Channel, 2016 marks the 100th anniversary of our National Park Service. What effect have the national parks had on our environment, and what can we do to help them? In tonight's In the Field segment, we meet with teacher Lisa Peck, who discusses the importance of environmentalism and teaching students about it. And in tonight's final segment, we have a little fun and see how much people really know about our environment. First up tonight, we celebrate a spectacular milestone. On August 25th, 2016, the National Park Service will celebrate its 100th anniversary. For 100 years, our national parks have been an important part of protecting America's natural beauty. Spread across all 50 states, we have 59 national parks that protect thousands of acres of land while giving the American people a chance to learn about and experience the true and untouched America. In 1872, Yellowstone National Park was established as the first national park in the United States. Although many more national parks were created in the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, it wasn't until 1916 that Congress first passed an act establishing the National Park Service, marking an important milestone in protecting our environment. Today, America's national parks remain an important part of our heritage and inspire us to protect nature and its beauty. Next, I'll send it to our In the Field reporter, Max Kobernick, who is live from ST6 with Mrs. Peck. Take it away, Max. Why do you think it is important that students learn about environmentalism?
Environmentalism involves the entire world, and part of the problem right now is humans en masse have been changing our environment at alarming rates, and it's actually, we're seeing many species being wiped out. We're in the sixth mass extinction of all geological time, and so it's imperative that we start to make changes now. And the only way we're going to make changes is with youth and get young people to realize what we do impacts not only our local environment but at a global scale too. So it's imperative for you guys to study and learn about it.
What person in history do you think has had the biggest impact in environmentalism in the United States?
This is going to be an unusual answer. Most people say Rachel Carson. She wrote Silent Spring. It was the first book that talked about the effect of DDT and wiping out bird populations, etc., and bioaccumulation. Although she started the environmental movement, and a lot of enlightened people read her stuff, and we started seeing environmental movement, it wasn't until the early 70s that we started to see legislation under President Nixon's tenure. And so President Nixon is only known, Richard Nixon is mostly known when you ask him, he was impeached and he lied, etc. So that's what he's known for. Unfortunately, his legacy is much greater than that. He opened up the doors to China, he ended the war, but he also had more environmental legislation occur during his tenure than any other time. We had the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, the Endangered Species Act, and it goes on and on and on. So more legislation, more people became aware because of his legacy.
Finally, in our last segment tonight, we had a little fun with the upper school community. We like to call this Fly Witness News. We went around the high school and asked students how they felt about completely false and totally made up stories about the environment. Here are their reactions.
How do you feel about President Obama's new executive order that requires all Americans to drive hybrid cars in order to save the environment?
I think it's kind of dumb and unrealistic because that's never going to happen, no matter how hard he tries.
I think that would save a lot on carbon emissions in the atmosphere, so it sounds like a pretty good idea.
I think it would be a good law in an ideal situation, but a lot of people aren't going to follow it. People like their trucks and things like that. But I think in an ideal world, it would be good. Okay.
No, I'm not going to drive a Prius. What?
It'd be a great idea, reduce CO2 emissions. If Prius could make a truck, that'd be pretty nice, because America.
What is your response to Secretary of State John Kerry's recent trip to Attu Island in order to raise awareness on the extinction of the spotted toad?
To where?
Attu Island.
Okay, don't know what that is, and who really cares about frogs, I guess?
That seems like it may be a waste of time for the Secretary of State to be spending. Probably could be doing better stuff with that.
Okay.
first of all, I don't even know where that place is. And second of all, I think that's kind of dumb that one man would go that far to save a toad when there's so many other important things going on here in the U.S. that we need to take care of.
How do you feel about the scientific study that shows elephants in sub-Saharan Africa will be extinct by 2023 because of industrial pollution and rainforest destruction?
I think it's really sad because I kind of like elephants. What about the jungle cats and the safari people that live among these elephants and use them for their social and cultural values? Like, it's what about the ivory? I mean, what about the ivory roads that the Portuguese king uses to inflate his economy? It's sickening.
How do you feel about the news that today 87% of the penguin population in the Arctic Circle is gone, 3 out of 5 penguin eggs will not hatch because of factory pollution, and that within the next few centuries penguins will lose the ability to swim because of genetic mutations due to nuclear energy?
Well, now the penguins are going to have sad feet instead of happy feet.
These penguins will lose the ability to swim because of genetic mutations due to nuclear energy.
That's awful. That's so sad. Yeah, we should probably do something about that also.
Were you surprised when presidential candidate Donald J. Trump announced a new Save the Pandas initiative as part of his campaign for the White House?
You know, I thought it was rare because I heard that he liked to hunt pandas in his free time with the humans, but I mean, I think that, you know, he could get some more supporters. Usually he shades toward the more right conservative, but I think that could get some other people involved in his campaign. I mean, he doesn't love furry pandas. I mean, they're black and white. I mean, if they're Mexican, he probably wouldn't like them, but yeah.
No, of course not. I mean, gotta save pandas and...
I mean, I guess I was a little surprised, but I love Trump. Make America great again.
Even though some of these stories and the reactions are funny, this truly highlights how little most people know about environmentalism and its importance. We hope if you learned one thing today, you can see how important it is to learn about the ways to save the environment and how we can learn from the history of environmentalism in the United States. Signing off, Max Kovac. Stay classy, St. Petersburg.